June the 4th, 2025. Guys, you're looking at a Cold War era UVB-76 broadcast station. Now, it hadn't been used much lately, but now today, and I think it may be the shot or the broadcast heard around the world, but it says that they sent out code words, Autozelback and Ashalan. Now, we don't know it. If we knew them, they wouldn't be code, right? But what's happening is Trump made a call today with Putin. He come on and said, we talked, but there's not going to be an immediate peace. And they talked about, sure, of course, the drone strikes. Then they also attacked the Kherson Bridge, if you remember. Ukraine did. And so Russia really hadn't responded much. You know, they're still marching forward with their land forces moving in and taking over more territory. But as far as a retaliatory strike, they haven't. But now, this isn't all that's happened. Let's take a look at something else. Now, I don't know if this was in reply to the Trump and Putin call, with no peace deal set up, or if this is in response or going along with that radio broadcast. Again, that emergency broadcast station we were just looking at was a warning system for nuclear or any type of attack, right? But this is the U.S. Embassy. They even told all of our people there in the Ukrainian embassy that you're under a security alert. They want them to start mapping out shelters, stocking up extra food, water, and medicines, making plans, because they think something is going to happen. And this article may be exactly right, because we haven't heard anything. I complained about that. I said, why is Trump not talking about what Lindsey Graham did along with Dick Blumenthal? Why has nothing been said? Well, Trump did call Putin, and they had that that conversation today. And boy, I'd love to have been a fly on the wall during that one. But anyway, it says the U.S. Embassy tells Americans to be prepared to take cover as Kiev braces for a shock and awe attack. Now, Zelensky's going to get what he asked for. He listened to Lindsey Graham. He's about to get his butt kicked. But what the big problem here is, you got civilians, of course, but this war could very easily spread, because we got a lot of war hawks. Excuse me, I don't like that. War maggot flies creeping around the swamp. And they would love to instigate this. If it would line their pockets, they would love it, or satisfy their bloodlust. It says the U.S. Embassy in Kiev has issued a new Wednesday heightened security alert due to continued risk of significant air attacks by Russia on Ukraine. The Kremlin, including Putin himself, has said that major retaliation is coming after the Sunday massive cross-border Ukrainian operation, which destroyed many of Russia's premier military aircraft, including some long-range strategic bombers. And I'll link to this article, and I think they've got some satellite shots here too. But it says Ukraine. This is coming from the U.S. Department of State. And it's to Ukraine. It says Russia's increased the intensity of its missile and drone attacks against Ukraine in recent weeks, and there's currently a continued risk of significant problems, is what they're talking about. But Russia has increased. They're pushing through there. But this attack here, it may be a game changer, maybe a game ender for Zelensky. President Trump has said of an over 1 hour phone call he held with Putin today that we discussed the attacks on Russia's docked airplanes by Ukraine, and also various other attacks. You know, again, the Kherson Bridge. He said various other attacks have been taking place by both sides. Trump went on to call it a good conversation. However, in quotation marks, not a conversation that would lead to immediate peace. In other words, Russia told Trump, Putin did, he's about to kick Zelensky's butt, and that's about to happen. And I think that it goes back to, again, Lindsey Graham's visit to instigate and pump up Zelensky with his pride, and pride always comes before destruction. But to build up that pride and to, again, he told him that we're behind you, we're your friend, all of this. I'm going back to Congress. I'm going to bypass Trump. We're going to get something done. Now, again, Trump hasn't mentioned Graham publicly. He may have said several things about him that we don't know about. Now, this is a little more info on that embassy warning there in Ukraine. It says the below official embassy alert, marked today, June 4th, relays the following information for American citizens remaining in the Ukrainian capital. Russia has increased the intensity of its missile and drone attacks against Ukraine in recent weeks. Notice they don't mention that because you just sent a massive drone attack over into Russia. That is why it's happening. Just saying that's a U.S. embassy for you. There is currently a continued risk of significant air attacks. The U.S. Embassy in Kiev urges U.S. citizens to exercise appropriate caution. As always, we recommend you be prepared to shelter immediately in the event of if an air alert event is announced. Actions to take: identify shelter locations in advance of any air alert. Of course, this would be good for any city on the planet now. You know, if you think about a full-scale war. Download a reliable air alert app to your mobile phone, such as Air Raid, Siren, or Alarm Map. Immediately take shelter away from windows in the most hardened location you can move to if an air alert is announced. Monitor local media for updates. Keep reserve of water, food, medication. Follow the directions of Ukrainian officials and first responders in the event of an emergency. And you can review, there's links here, you can look at the do's and don'ts in a crisis. Of note, in Trump's phone call with Putin, is that nothing was stated from Trump in the way of a U.S. demand that Putin not retaliate. He knows they are. Trump hates, maybe hates a strong word. He strongly does not like that punk. Would you know it when they tricked him into coming to the White House, kind of. They were ready for him, and if he ran that mouth, they were going to tear him up. And they tore the hide off of him. And again, I will never forget, they wouldn't let him eat lunch. Anyway, nothing was stated that our demand that Putin not retaliate. Of course, he's going to retaliate. And he's about to, I think, going to put some of the final knockout blows in here, guys. The absence of a preemptive condemnation for any major retaliation suggests that major aerial retaliation is indeed imminent, and that Washington understands the tit-for-tat nature of what is likely about to happen. Could be happening now as we speak. Geopolitical observer and podcaster Alex Christopher had written the following in reaction to the Big Wednesday phone call after the White House had remained silent on the latest developments. And that, I agree. They should have said something, at least about locking Lindsey Graham up. I know I'm hung up on that, but I'm pretty upset with him. He showed what a traitor he is to our nation. He said, again, they mentioned the Ukrainian attack on the Kerch Strait Bridge, as well as 3 bridges in southern Russia. Remember, trains were crashing, 7 were killed. Trump speaks with Putin, another lone call. Who initiated the call, Trump or Putin? This, again, the author is asking. Much different tone than playing with fire, Truth Post. This is, again, Trump's website or social media place. 2 leaders discussed Ukrainian drone strikes and various other attacks by both sides. Trump accepted that Putin would retaliate, and it will be big. Trump admits immediate peace not coming. Maxar, which is satellite people, they have confirmed that several high-value strategic bombers were destroyed in Sunday's Ukrainian attack deep inside Russia. Now, I've heard from 41 to half that, so I don't know. I haven't seen all the images. A lot of reports are saying 40 to 41 of the bombers, and it was 2 different aircraft. They're both very expensive and very dangerous. They're saying that Russia has appeared patient in calculating the response, which could mean shock and awe, or Kiev at any moment. Hence the U.S. Embassy's strong new warning. Medvedev, who is Putin's bulldog, basically, has also warned of what's coming in Tuesday's statement. Our army is pushing forward and will continue to advance. Everything that needs to be blown up will be blown up, and those who must be eliminated will be. They're saying ominous threats and signs. Definitely, if you're talking about Russia, or if you're dealing with the U.S., you can get shock and awe from either side. But now, again, we've got some people meddling in the affairs there. How can we negotiate with those resorting to terrorism? Putin asked bluntly. As Kiev pleads for ceasefires to rearm and regroup, it keeps attacking civilians. That's really been going on for years. He says that the Kiev regime is turning into a terrorist organization as battlefield defeats mount. And they're saying, just how we started the video, and we don't know what's going on with this unusual post from RT, Russia Times, but it can't be good because they called it, it's always been called the Doomsday Radio. But guys, I wanted to talk about it so that everyone's aware. We knew something was going to happen. That was obvious. When you start hitting someone that hard, I'm talking about that's a major attack. Of course, both sides have been getting in leaks, but Russia's taking ground. They have been from the beginning. I think the U.S. needs to stay out of it altogether. And again, don't fly any more rhino warmongers. Don't let them fly over there. Just shut them down. Tell them, if you leave, don't come back. We're going to be waiting for you at the airport, and then you're going to go from there to Gitmo. But guys, I don't know what's going to happen with it. We need to pay attention to it. So all I can do is say it's a heads up and be safe.